Sarvinder, coming to you. Rajat Bose is with us. Rajat, thanks for joining in. Ambareesh Baliga joins in and Sarvinder stays on. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have all of you here. Rajat, where do you stand on the Nifty?
Good morning.
I'm expecting small bit of a recovery on the back of some short covering, because yesterday about nearly 5 million puts have been added in 5900 through 6100 strike calls. I mean, this huge short position that has been built up, and if there is a mild recovery which will take the Nifty beyond say 5989 to about 5996, then you will see this short covering starting off. But as I said, that it is a short covering, it is going to be a short covering rally, and it would be a minor rally, because the overall position as indicated by the short term moving averages is that any rally would now be used by people to actually get out of the long positions that they got stuck, or for that matter the bears would come in for selling afresh. So that possibility remains, and I'm not expecting the Nifty to really scale up much. Of course, above 6,000 levels, 6,015 to about 6,035 is a major resistance zone, and beyond that 6,043 to about 6,068, this is the Chinese wall. I mean, the kind of supply that can come in at these levels, if the Nifty were to go today or maybe on Monday, that would be really worthwhile to see. And I would suggest booking profits at those levels if one has any long positions taken today or maybe yesterday, and definitely get out of this market, because I have a feeling that we are probably headed towards 58.70 to about 58.50 on the downside. Prashant.
Ambareesh, where do you stand?
In fact, I think we need to brace for volatility. I mean, we have seen a great amount of volatility in the recent past, and even going ahead till the elections, which you don't know whether it will be November or whether it will be March or May next year. Till then, I suppose we will have to brace with volatility. Having said that, I would say possibly the downside from here could be limited. In fact, the way we see it, we really don't see too much of a downside below 5800, 5850. So, in fact, after the sort of a cut which we had, it's very much possible that we could see some sort of a bounce back from these levels. So if you're talking of medium term, the next 4 to 6 months, in fact, we see the markets going more towards 6350 than possibly 5800 levels.
So essentially, Rajat, sell into strength, right? You get bounces, look to book profits. Would you recommend trying to short sell actively?
Short sell actively on a rally, not at current levels, because at current levels most of the stocks have come to their support areas, as well as the Nifty has come to a support area, so has the bank Nifty. So if you sell at current levels, that may not be a right thing to do, but wait, because there has been so much of short position build up. At least if there is a kind of a bounce, then some shorts, at least the weaker hands, would come in to cover their positions, and that would give you a higher level where your risk reward ratio would be somewhat more favorable. So at that point of time, I am expecting short sellers to come in. I mean, fresh shorting can happen, and with much lesser risk, but overall bias in this market would remain down. I mean, I'm not expecting an encore of May 15th when the bank Nifty moved up by 494 points, erasing the losses of the previous two sessions. That kind of a thing, if anybody is expecting, that is a tall order.
I want your thoughts on State Bank of India, Rajat. First, I mean, you go first. SBI and Bank Nifty. SBI actually.
Regarding SBI, I would say that it has broken major support levels, major moving averages like 90-day, 100-day, 50-day, 200-day, all at one go, and it's a huge sell-off with huge volume. Of course, it has come to a support area around 2150. Suppose if this 2150 support gets broken, then we are headed for something like 2120 to about 2080, and SBI looks weak. You will see that just above 2200 200 where its 200-day moving average is located. I think if it were to show some bounce, selling would come in there. People would put a stop loss anywhere above say 2250 or so, expecting lower prices. And regarding the bank Nifty, what I would like to say is this, that bank Nifty also would attract selling, but at current levels I do not advocate selling, because the range of 105 points from 12,646 to about 12,541, it is a strong support area and it is unlikely to be broken so soon. So my suggestion is that watch out for the levels of 12,726 to about 12,783, where I mean, in my reckoning it is a supply zone, and if this is not crossed, then you can actually consider shorting. And as such, do not expect any sustainable recovery unless the bank Nifty crosses 12,857 to about 12,945. As of today, that looks like a tall order. I'm not, as I just said, I'm not expecting an encore in the bank Nifty just the way it did on May 15. So here again, sell on rallies would be your way to go.
Okay, pretty clear. Ambareesh, Tata Steel reported numbers. I don't know if you looked at it. What's your sense, if you have?
No, in fact, these provisions which came in was clearly expected, and in fact, if we look at the chorus performance, clearly there, I mean, it has stabilized close to about $33 per ton, which in fact we have been quite happy about. So the way we see it, I mean, Tata Steel is possibly the downside from here would be limited, but as I mean, that upcycle in steel will take a while. So I mean, it may not be a buy right now, but if it's there in the portfolio, I don't think this is the price to sell off and get out.
Okay, in the pre-open session, I think Tata Steel is up 3.5%. Market opening on your screen. Rupees, by the way, up a little bit from being down earlier. Sun Pharma is down 1.75%. Hindalco is up about 0.75%. HDFC Bank is up 0.5%. ITC is starting out 0.5% higher. Wockhardt is down 18% again. That's 1.8. 20 yesterday, 18 today. Hero MotoCorp is 0.5%. BPCL is up 0.5%. Bank of Baroda is up 1.33%. Asian Paints unchanged. Just focusing on large caps for now. But let's have some of these stocks at the bottom of the screen. Wockhardt specifically. Tata Steel is up 5.25%. The European performance has been better. And we were just talking about that with Ambareesh, coming back for a technical view with Rajat and Sarvendra in a bit. Reliance Infrastructure starts out 2% higher. ITC is up a little bit. IDFC is up a little bit, 1%. L&T starts out slightly higher. SBI is up 1%. That's 2161, 2162 on State Bank of India right now as the stock as the markets open. Sun Pharma is down a good 2% now. Ranbaxy is up about 1.25%. Jindal Steel is up 2%. Is down 2%. Beg your pardon. Chesa Goa 0.5%. Tata Power is up down about 0.1%. ONGC is up 1%. There's Kane India up about 1.25%. Axis Bank up 1%. NTPC up 1% as well. So, and that's basically what you've got in terms of market opening right now. Wockhardt is down 17.5%. 1,082. That's about 40% in 2 days trade. But we're opening up right now. Let's see. I mean, no, it's not in the futures and options space. So there could be intraday shorting, or there could be some deliveries getting sold into. Tata Steel is up 5%. JP Associates sold off 9% yesterday. It's coming up 2%. Reliance Infrastructure was down some 40 bucks yesterday. It's coming up 8 rupees. I mean, you know, basically what's happening is some rebound in most stocks as the overall market sees a bit of a comeback. I mean, that's about it. Sun is down. Taro reported numbers. Sun, I think, owns about 70% in Taro, and Taro numbers are pretty disappointing. Sun is down about 17 rupees. Tata Power, GAIL, Ultratech and TCS are the other stocks which are opening up. I don't know if you've got prices on Ranbaxy. Ranbaxy is up 1%. So that was down again 10% yesterday. 397 on Ranbaxy right now. Devina.
Mid caps and small caps. So let's start off with a few gainers then. We've got Pfizer, which is opening positive by about 5.5% this morning, but the volumes are extremely lackluster. Gammon Infra Projects is up 5%. You've got Emphasis, a smaller IT name, that's up about 3.5%. DB Realty does well. That stock's open positive by 3.5% at 74. You've got United Spirits at 2,500, almost approaching that right now. It's up to 3%. HDIL is up 3%. Unitech is moving up 2.5%. Mangalore Refinery, Lanco Infra up 2.5% apiece. Aptech Limited is up 2.5%. Bajaj Finance, GMR Infrastructure 2.5% apiece there. United Breweries Holdings, that's UB Holdings, up 2.5%. IVRCL Limited is up 2.33%. Adani Power is up 2.25%. Oberoi Realty is up 2.25%. NCC, which was down 10% yesterday, is open positive by 2% today. UCO Bank, Reliance Infrastructure, JCorp, RCom has opened positive as well today, 2% apiece. Lower on the lower side, AstraZeneca is down 5%. Tulip Telecoms is down 4%. Tata Communications is down 3.5%. Jet Airways is down 2.5%. Puravankara Projects is down 2.5%. We've got Glenmark Pharma down 2%. Thermax down 2%. Sun Pharma Advanced Research, Shainage and Company, these are some names to watch out for. Tata Spongine is also lower by about 1.5%. So these are some names to keep an eye on. So right now, at least even in the mid caps and small caps, it looks like a slight bit of a recovery there on a technical basis. Just a trading bounce in some of these names that have sold off heavily in yesterday's session and the previous few days. Sarvendra, quick word on opening.
I think the bounce with the kind of reversal conditions that you were having on intraday charts, I think the bounce was definitely on the card. So that's coming. How you behave around these levels over the next couple of sessions would be crucial. My sense is that this bounce would get some supply around the 6,030, 6,050 mark, and if probably signatures then come up, then probably intraday we would also want to kind of keep a small stop and take a short side trade. But as I said, still want to wait and watch and as to see what the characteristics of this up move are and which are the stocks that are leading the move.
Okay. Walcott is down 19%, 1,065, 1,066 or so. And so we know the news. We got this to you yesterday at about 2 p.m. or so. Stock went down 10, then another 10, closed down 20, is down another almost 20%. Import alert, which basically means that Walcott can't export out of its export-oriented unit. And it's basically about $100 million hit to the top line. Walcott does about $1 billion plus in annual revenues, and that's a 10% cut coming through. So natural that the stock takes such a large cut. But the bigger point, which I think will take time to sort of prevail, is that is the US FDA getting very, very aggressive. So you had this case with Ranbaxy. Daiichi Sankyo yesterday saying that they're thinking of suing ex-shareholders, the Singh brothers ex-shareholders of Ranbaxy, that's the Singh brothers. And the Singh brothers put out a statement. Mr. Malvinder Singh spoke to us saying that Daiichi is simply trying to shift blame. There was that Fortune magazine article which is being pretty widely quoted, which also talks about malpractices at Ranbaxy. The company, of course, is absolutely denying any wrongdoing whatsoever. But the point is that it kind of will sort of put pressure on the FDA, on regulators in the US to regulate more effectively, to come down harder on even the slightest of slightest hint of wrongdoing at any of these generic companies. I mean, the demand has been on in the US for a long time, but I think with things like this, more than any time over the last couple of years or so, the US FDA will start to come down. That could be a really big theme, because people are anticipating secular growth in earnings for pharma companies driven by opportunities in the US, exclusivities, etc. But if the US FDA, the regulator of drugs sold in the US, starts to come down heavily on drug companies, Indian generic drug companies, I mean, then you've got basically trouble on your hands, and that entire hypothesis that US exclusivities will be the big thing for Indian Indian pharma majors, that comes under a bit of suspicion and cloud. But it's still early days. But we've seen these things. Walcott, you had Ranbaxy, you had Aurobindo, you had, so many now over the last couple of months, over the last 6 months or so. I can think of 5 or 6 of these instances which have sort of happened. Nifty is down about 1/3%. SBI futures, that is, we're from a high of 2160. I'm talking about the futures, May futures, 2165 is now at 2132. It's down about 1/3% or so right now. Larsen has lost some 15% over the last 2 days. It's trying to bounce a little bit, 1440 futures again. And oil stocks are trying to make a bit of a comeback. BP, HP, everything sold off except ONGC. ONGC was up a little bit today. I mean, HP is at about 286, BP futures at 384, and ONGC at about 330 futures, that is. Ambareesh, any thoughts on walk hard?
Yeah, in fact, I would talk about overall. I think there were two industries which actually did extremely well because of US. That is both IT and pharma. If you're talking of the last 10 to 15 years, and clearly, I mean, like there has been, I mean, some sort of a, clamp down. I mean, for like IT, we have seen that there have been issues as far as the visa and immigration is concerned, and as far as pharma is concerned, we have had problems with the US, like FDA. I mean, first we saw Ranbaxy, and now we are seeing that happening with Wokhard. You don't know as to how many more would actually come up. So I think this could be one of those major pain points as far as the pharma sector is concerned, because most of the darlings of the pharma sector clearly have a huge exposure to US.
Wokhard, what are the crucial levels, Rajat?
Wokhard is already at a crucial support area. I mean, very close to about 1100. As I can see on my chart, there would be supports around, say, 1100 to about 1185. This is the zone that needs to be watched out. I mean, I would say that if you break very important support levels starting from 1300 to about 1100 at this way, you will expect some kind of a bounce, and that bounce might happen at any point in time, because today is the second day of the big fall. On the first day, maybe you don't see such a bounce, but on the second day, there is every probability that at some point in time, some people will be buying in to seek some bargain and all that. So at this juncture, taking any fresh short position not warranted, but definitely do not go long unless you see that Wokhard bouncing back above, say, at least 1150. Then you can expect 1185 to 1200. But my feeling is that we will see at least a bounce up to 1300 in the next few days, unless of course the news becomes that negative that Wokhard becomes a critical case.
Okay, got that. Larsen, Rajat, what would you do with that one?
Just a sec. Regarding Larsen, what I would say is that Larsen has also fallen for two sessions and on good volume. Now it has already come to its support area between 1400 and 1350. You will see lots of support coming in, but unless Larsen quickly catches up to 1450 plus levels, it would continue to remain weak. In fact, at higher levels you can expect selling, because it has broken 200-day, 90-day, all major moving averages. So now Larsen is pretty weak. I don't advocate going fresh long right away.
Ambareesh, L&T?
L&T, after the sort of a fall, I think it's come to levels where it actually becomes a buy for us. Clearly, I mean, going ahead, we still, I mean, go with the management that the orders will grow at about 20%, top line will grow at about 17-18%, and possibly once we start seeing those green shoots and the investment cycle turning up, I think that will be a major trigger for L&T. And also, the other trigger for L&T as well as the infra space overall would be divestment of their projects, developmental projects which they have. So I think that will be one more trigger. Going ahead. So from these levels, in fact, we don't see L&T slipping much further. And for the next 9 to 12 months, we have a price target of about 1846. So I think it's a buy at these levels.
Many are highlighting that Ranbaxy is corrected quite a bit. It's at attractive levels, Ambareesh. Would you look at it like that, or you think, I mean, it's pretty fluid, and there, one doesn't know the full story, so it's just better to avoid.
Right. Although I think one major event is over, which is the penalty which has been levied. So that's already there in the stock price. But then business as such, I'm not extremely bullish as far as Ranbaxy is concerned. I think the next trigger for the shareholders could in fact be a complete buyout by Daiichi. But then with these sort of skeletons coming up, I really don't know as to when their buyback would happen. I mean that was a big story some time back. I mean in the last 2 years people are talking that possibly Daiichi will do a complete delisting. So that in fact could get delayed. But I mean the way I see it is that's the only trigger left in Ranbaxy right now.
Ambareesh, Rajat, Sarvendra, thanks very much for your time, gentlemen. Great to have all of you here talking about markets and specific stocks. By the way, markets are coming off again. The Nikkei, I'm being told, is off some 400, 450 odd points from the day's highest level. And the Nifty is starting to show some pressure, 59.80, 59.79 or so on the index. Let's take that break. We're coming right back. I mean, the Nikkei was up some 2.5, 2 3/4 or so when we started. It's a sharp come down.